Ladies and gentlemen, Violent Games here. Today I wanted to talk about video game fatigue, burnout, and things of the like. I feel like I'm really qualified to talk about this issue because when I was a bit younger, I suffered from this a lot for reasons we'll get into. And I feel like now that I'm more of an adult, I feel like I enjoy games way more as a whole, whereas some people kind of feel the opposite. They're like, man, when I was a kid, I used to enjoy this a lot more. I'm not of that mentality, and I feel like a lot of it has to do with the fact that I treat video games in a very specific way. So without further ado, let's jump into the list. So my first tip to avoid gaming fatigue is to play a variety of games, guys. Don't stick to one genre, because if you do, you're going to get really burnt out on that genre. You're not going to like to play other games within the said genre. You really need to diversify your library to keep things fresh. Your brain can't release dopamine on the same type of exposure over and over and over again. You really need to mix it up so that your brain is constantly being challenged or being presented with new ideas. I feel like your brain loves to learn, and it can't do that if you keep exposing it to the same type of stuff. Like, if you eat vanilla ice cream every day, you know, that could be your favorite flavor, right? But if you eat vanilla ice cream every day of your existing life, you're going to get pretty fucking tired of vanilla ice cream, let me tell you. So make sure you play a variety of games, and that will help keep your library fresh. Point number 2 on the list. We have take breaks and avoid binging. I think a huge problem, especially with younger gamers, is that people play way too long and they don't take any breaks. They don't like get a glass of water or anything, or take a mental 15 minutes in between sessions. And this overconsumption is just going to make you so jaded, especially on the particular game you're playing. And to be honest, I think it also keeps you from being a better gamer at a certain game. So for example, I think after playing 2 to 3 hours of Rainbow Six Siege, you stop learning after that point. You know, your brain is constantly having to think of new ideas of how to get in this building, how to interact with these players, how to get Peeker's advantage. But at a certain point, if you've been playing the game for too long, you're going to stop learning and you're going to get really, really frustrated because your brain's just tired of, you know, constantly having to form new ways of solving the problem. You might result to, like, your own natural instincts and just keep going in the same way. You need to take breaks. Like, your brain can only handle so much of a certain thing before it's tired. And we don't often think of our brains that way. We're constantly just trying to, you know, get that dopamine release that we got, you know, last week when we were playing the game. But do not overextend this. You guys need to take breaks, and it will help improve your enjoyment of the games if you do so. So take breaks and avoid binging. That's point number 2. Moving into point number 3. I think you need to challenge yourself. I think a problem with a lot of video game players as we grow up and get older, or as we become better at video games, is we don't take it further than that. And I don't know where that barrier is for some people, but I think switching things to the hard mode really helps enhance your gameplay experience because it adds an additional challenge for you to overcome. And it makes the experience more nuanced. In order to play a game on the harder difficulty setting means that you have to understand that game within its entirety a bit more. You need to understand how the AI reacts to you. How far away can I crouch before the enemy can see me? What cover is viable for soft cover? What cover is going to allow me to utilize stealth? Things like that are all important, at least in the games I play. And I feel like if you don't like bump yourself up in your difficulty, you're gonna get bored really, really quickly. A lot of problems with games is that they become mindless challenges where you're not having to think of intricate solutions, and if you play games like that frequently, you know, that could become a problem for you and can cause you to run into some burnout, into some fatigue. Now, I understand the appeal of maybe you worked a really difficult job today and you're just exhausted and you want to go home and like live a power fantasy and be overpowered and just mindlessly kill stuff. I understand the appeal to that. This is just, you know, me talking to the gamers who are definitely bigger enthusiasts who haven't really taken themselves further, and I feel like in order to really appreciate a game, you need to play on the harder difficulties. And if a game doesn't have difficulty settings, I'm usually not as satisfied with those games. Or if I find them too easy, it's not as great for me. An example recently, I've been playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I played around and got used to the game mechanics in the normal difficulty setting, and then I immediately went out and purchased the DLC, which gave me access to the master mode, and I love it so much more because it's punishing. The fact that I can fail and that things aren't just given to me is so much more satisfying than me just being like, well, I'm overpowered now, let's continue the rest of the game. I like the challenge. I like pushing myself, and I think that challenging yourself is going to ultimately make your experience as a gamer much more nuanced, varied, and entertaining. It'll make your brain much more happy. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Moving into the fourth point, and I think this one's really, really important, so listen up. But okay, anyhow. I think you guys need to have other hobbies outside of video games. I think that is really important because it helps you get away from video games when you are experiencing that fatigue, and it kind of helps clear your mind in a way, whether it's reading or fishing or, I don't know, jet skiing. I don't know what you have access to where you live. I'm not going to hate. But for example, the reason why Violent Games is my moniker is because I play violin. It's very important to me. It's a part of what defines me as a person, and I feel like when you guys pick up other hobbies, you're further defining yourself as an individual. On top of that, you're getting away from video games and not suffering from burnout because you constantly have different things at your disposal to make yourself more diverse. Like, violin is infinitely complex, and getting better at it and learning newer songs. I just used that word. But you get what I'm saying. Having that as a side hobby, in conjunction with video games, helps keep things fresh for me, and I'm never really bored of video games as a result. I think it's really, really beneficial for you guys to have an additional hobby. I highly encourage it. Like, before I picked up violin, guys, I was starting to hate video games. No joke. I think it was around 2014, or not 2014, 2015, 2016, around when there weren't a lot of releases. I was just tired of video games. I was sick of it, and then I picked up violin out of a whim, really, and then it just enriched my life. I became a lot more engrossed in that, and if video games were disappointing, I had that to go to, and having that to go to, I cannot stress enough, is just so important. Like, having that outlet outside of video games in case things go wrong or if you're bored of games, really, really valuable. Alright guys, time for my fifth and most salient tip. This is very important. If you take anything from this video, take this one. I want you guys to exercise and be healthy. This isn't just for video games, this is for your overall quality of life. This is going to improve all aspects of your life if you do this. And if you don't believe me, talk to people who exercise, listen to their anecdotes, and also consult science, because science will tell you that exercising has so many benefits that some people honestly aren't even aware of. For example, exercise can help prevent depression. It can help prevent Alzheimer's, and overall it can help prevent the degradation of your brain. So, like, it's good for you in so many ways that I think we haven't even explored yet as humans. It's just so medicinal and so pertinent. And as a video game player, I can personally tell you that I've enjoyed games more and appreciated games more as an art form because of exercise, because I have that mental clarity, because my body doesn't feel like crap as like a sort of distraction from the games itself. And when I feel like I'm happy with what I've done during the day, and if I feel like I physically exerted myself, you have those endorphins in your system, which is going to make you overall a happier person. And to top this off, guys, I'm just going to say that you cannot reach your peak happiness in your life if you do not exercise. It is not possible. Get it out of your head. I don't care what amount of meth or cocaine you want to do. If you want to have the best life possible, if you want to have the best experiences possible, you need to exercise and take care of yourself. This is the most important point on this list. Cannot stress that enough. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope that this enriches your overall experience with video games. I really, really do. I'm someone who is in the prime of enjoying video games right now. I have not enjoyed video games nearly as much up until this point in my life. I think video games, we are on the uprising of really good IPs A lot of good games are coming out. There's a lot of games to go back on and play. There's just too much fun to be had. And I don't want you guys to be bogged down by video game fatigue, so I wanted to throw this out there for my community so you had a few extra tools in the box to enjoy video games for what they're worth and appreciate the art form as it is. Anyways, guys, this is Violent Games signing off. If you haven't already, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, all that nonsense. We have a very small community. I like to read the comments that come through under the not likely spam section, of course. They do organize my comments on YouTube. But the community is awesome. I really enjoy interacting with them, and I think you will as well. So feel free to leave a comment and subscribe and join the orchestra of gaming. This is Violent Games signing off.